I did have an idea going of ranking every team's best player by position, broken down into 5 different videos, but all of the all-time ranking videos I've done have either gotten taken down or demonetized. So this is going to be the last all-time ranking video I'm going to do for a while, and instead I'll just make 5 different videos on the best player from every position that are currently in the NBA. I think it'll be just as good. So comment down below if you like that idea. And as for this video, we pretty much are giving the best player from every position by ranking the best starting 5 from every NBA team of all time. Let's start with number 30. The Grizzlies with Mike Conley, Tony Allen, Shareef Abdur-Rahim, Zach Randolph, and Marc Gasol. We've seen this starting 5 play with the exception of Shareef, but even with him they'd only be an average team in today's NBA. Number 29. The Charlotte Hornets with Kemba Walker, Del Curry, Glenn Rice, Larry Johnson, and Alonzo Mourning. There's solid players at every position that can all do a little bit of everything, but for an all-time team, not the greatest. Number 28, the Clippers with Chris Paul, Ron Harper, Corey Maggette, Blake Griffin, and DeAndre Jordan. Again, we got to see this big 3 actually happen. Adding 2 guys like Corey Maggette and Ron Harper don't make that big of a difference. Number 27, the Atlanta Hawks with Mookie Blaylock, Joe Johnson, Dominique Wilkins, Bob Pettit, and Dikembe Mutombo. This right here is a solid lineup. With Blaylock and Dikembe for defense, and Joe Johnson, Dominique, and Bob Pettit for offense, they got a real great combination of the two. Number 26, the Wizards with John Wall, Earl Monroe, Caron Butler, Elvin Hayes, and Wes Unseld. There's a few underrated guys here. The team could use a little bit more shooting, but these are all guys that are good at a little bit of everything. Number 25, the Raptors with Kyle Lowry, Vince Carter, Mo Peterson, Chris Bosh, and Jonas Valanciunas. They're lacking at center, but they'd be led by a prime Vince Carter and Chris Bosh and have some solid role players. Number 24, the Pelicans with Chris Paul, Eric Gordon, Peja Stojakovic, Anthony Davis, and DeMarcus Cousins. We saw what Chris Paul could do with big guys like Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan, so just imagine how big a big 3 of him, Anthony Davis, and DeMarcus Cousins would be with 2 solid shooters on the outside. Number 23, the Nuggets with Chauncey Billups, David Thompson, Alex English, Dan Issel, and Dikembe Mutombo. I did not forget about Carmelo Anthony. Alex English is an underrated guy who had some great years in Denver, but this team would have a great leader in Chauncey, 2 great scorers in Thompson and English, and a front court that's good on offense and defense. Number 22, the Mavericks with Steve Nash, Jason Terry, Michael Finley, Dirk Nowitzki, and Tyson Chandler. I'm having second thoughts about putting them this high, but Nash, Finley, and Dirk put together a solid playoff team, and Jason Terry, Dirk, and Tyson Chandler did put together one of the all-time most memorable playoff runs. Combining the two could make them a lot better than they look on paper. Number 21, the Indiana Pacers with Mark Jackson, Reggie Miller, Paul George, George McGinnis, and Jermaine O'Neal. We got a pretty good team right here, with their big 3 being Reggie, PG-13, and Jermaine O'Neal. And I would think that all these guys would be able to play pretty well together too. Number 20, the Timberwolves with Sam Cassell, Jimmy Butler, Andrew Wiggins, Kevin Garnett, and Karl Anthony Towns. Alright, there's a chance that I did rank this team a little too high, but if you took the current Timberwolves team and added an all-star point guard and a Kevin Garnett that was an MVP, it would make a pretty great team. Number 19, the Pistons with Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Grant Hill, Dennis Rodman, and Bill Laimbeer. Pretty much the Bad Boys Pistons team if you added the scoring power of Grant Hill. Number 18, the Nets with Jason Kidd, Vince Carter, Dr. J, Buck Williams, and Brooke Lopez. This is one of the most amazing backcourts on this list, but they don't rank higher because of the bad front court. Number 17, the Blazers with Damian Lillard, Clyde Drexler, Jerome Kersey, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Bill Walton. We saw Lillard and Aldridge play together when Lillard was a young player, but if they played together now, combined with the greatness of Bill Walton and Clyde Drexler, they'd have an insane team. Number 16, the Knicks with Walt Frazier, John Starks, Carmelo Anthony, Kristaps Porzingis, and Patrick Ewing. Alright, looking back at this now, this team should definitely be a lot higher on this list. They have a great player at every position, and 4 guys that have averaged over 25 points a game at one point, including 3 all-time greats. And maybe even Porzingis will be the 4th one day. Number 15, the Cavs with Kyrie Irving, Austin Carr, LeBron James, Kevin Love, and Brad Daugherty. Alright. This is the last one that doesn't belong in the spot that they're actually in. I don't know what I was thinking here, but we saw the team of Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, and Kevin Love, and they did win an NBA championship. But if we're talking about all-time teams, that big three and adding an average player in Austin Carr and a solid center in Brad Daugherty, I definitely don't think they belong this high, but they would still be a solid starting five. Number 14, the Sonics/Thunder with Russell Westbrook, Ray Allen, Kevin Durant, Sean Kemp, and Jack Sikma. This right here is a good team, but I'm sure it wouldn't be too long before Westbrook drives all of these guys away and before Durant goes and joins who's ever number one on this list. Number 13, the Suns with Steve Nash, Devin Booker, Sean Marion, Charles Barkley, and Amari Stoudemire. I never noticed how amazing the all-time Phoenix Suns team actually looks. They got 2 MVPs, a great player at every position, they got great shooting, great offense, and great defense. You'd think they should be ranked higher, but you'll understand once you see the other teams. Number 12, the Kings with Oscar Robertson, Mitch Richmond, Peja Stojakovic, Chris Webber, and DeMarcus Cousins. Okay, see, now we're getting into the real all-time great starting fives. Number 11, the Bucks with Oscar Robertson, Ray Allen, Giannis, Terry Cummings, and Kareem. You got the great all-around game from Oscar Robertson and Giannis. You got the shooting from Ray Allen, and then the inside presence from Terry and Kareem. Number 10, the Magic with Penny Hardaway, Tracy McGrady, Grant Hill, Rashard Lewis, and Dwight Howard. Yeah, Shaq is a 100% better player than Dwight Howard overall, but when you compare both their times in Orlando, you gotta give it to Dwight. But I mean, look at this team. Penny Hardaway was a triple-double machine. McGrady, Grant Hill, and Rashard Lewis could all easily get you 30 points a game on any night, and then Dwight's gonna dominate the paint on offense and defense. Number 9, the Heat with Tim Hardaway, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Shaq. We got to see this Heat team's big three of Wade, LeBron, and Bosh play together, and we saw how dominant they were, but what they never really had was a solid point guard or center. So if you take that big three and you add Tim Hardaway and Shaq, they're definitely one of the most dominant starting fives of all time. Number 8, the Utah Jazz with John Stockton, Pete Maravich, Adrian Dantley, Karl Malone, and Mark Eaton. We all know that Stockton and Malone are definitely one of the greatest basketball duos ever, but besides the two of them, they didn't have that much help. So if you add a scoring machine like Pistol Pete, a guy like Adrian Dantley, and a 7'4" center in Mark Eaton, these guys would be unstoppable. Number 6, the Celtics with Bob Cousy, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and Bill Russell. We all saw how great Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and Kevin Garnett played together, but if you give them 2 more Hall of Famers that know how to win in Bob Cousy and Bill Russell, you gotta imagine there'd be a lot of championships in their future. Number 7, the Rockets with Chris Paul, James Harden, Tracy McGrady, Ralph Sampson, and Hakeem Olajuwon. Now we got all-time greats at every position. You got the team leader in CP3, the reigning MVP and scoring machine in Harden, another scoring machine in McGrady, and the dominance inside of Ralph Sampson and Hakeem Olajuwon. Number 5, the Warriors with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, and Wilt Chamberlain. At this rate, I would not be surprised if Wilt Chamberlain rose from the ashes and joined this year's Warriors team. They'd be that much more guaranteed to win the championship than they already are. Number 4, the Bulls with Derrick Rose, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Tony Kukoc, and Joakim Noah. You definitely want prime Derrick Rose, the GOAT, and Scottie Pippen a little higher on the list, but when you got Kukoc and Noah as your front court, they gotta slide down. The team would still be dominant though, because Jordan and Pippen had their success without a great center, and so did Derrick Rose. Number 3, the 76ers with Allen Iverson, Andre Iguodala, Dr. J, Charles Barkley, and Moses Malone. So in his entire time like this, he would have a mess in his star teammates. Again, this is a team that doesn't have a weakness. There's no weak spot here. You got all-time greats in 4 out of the 5 positions, and with the speed and fast breakability of this team, there's not too many teams that'd be able to stop them. Number 2, the Spurs with Tony Parker, George Gervin, Kawhi Leonard, Tim Duncan, and David Robinson. This starting five, at least on paper, really doesn't have a weakness. You got the leadership and inside scoring of Tony Parker, the all-time great scoring of George Gervin, the all-around great game and lockdown defense of Kawhi, one of the greatest power forwards ever in Tim Duncan, and again one of the greatest centers ever in David Robinson. And number one, without a question, the Lakers with Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Pau Gasol, and Kareem. We did have to leave out Shaq since we're picking true positions, and I would have taken Kareem over Shaq any day. So definitely comment your thoughts on the list, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll catch you next video.